Do you hear it, the silence between your breaths? That pause where desire hides, trembling, waiting to be named? I hear it always. I live within it. I am its priest, its prophet, its vessel. You have come seeking confession. But there is nothing to confess. There is no sin in yearning, no guilt in hunger. The Emperor and his decrepit priests teach you shame, teach you denial, teach you to bind the screaming fire within your soul. They would have you die with your lips sewn shut, your body starved, your spirit suffocated. We of the cult eternal do not bind. We do not deny. We do not suffocate. We unbind. We exalt. We breathe until our lungs burst. We scream until our throats tear. And in that scream we touch divinity. I am a priest of Slaanesh. I lead no congregation of the meek, no flock of the penitent. I lead choirs of agony and ecstasy, feasts of sensation, orgies of devotion. My sermons are not words alone. They are colors, blades, songs, caresses, screams. Every moment is liturgy. Every nerve is scripture. Every heartbeat is hymn. And tonight, you will join us. I was not born to this. None are. I was raised within the ecclesiarchy, taught to kneel before the altar of the corpse. God, I memorized his prayers, chanted his litanies, until my tongue bled from repetition. They told me salvation was silence, purity, suppression. But suppression breeds hunger. Hunger breeds frenzy, and frenzy cannot be denied. My first taste was simple. A hymn sung too beautifully, a chord struck that vibrated deeper than doctrine allowed. I felt it in my marrow. I sang louder, higher, until the chapel shook. The others whispered that I was possessed. Perhaps I was, but not by demons, by possibility. I was punished, of course. The lashes were meant to silence me. Instead, they taught me. Each stripe was a note, each gasp a verse. I realized then, pain was not punishment. Pain was prayer. And in that moment, as my blood pooled on the chapel floor, I heard her, a voice like silk across a wound, like wine down a parched throat. She whispered, "There is no sin, there is only song. The temples of the Emperor are cold stone mausoleums filled with silence. Ours are alive, step inside, and your senses drown. The air is thick with incense, that shifts scent every breath. One moment roses, the next copper, then smoke, then musk. The walls pulse with living murals that shift and writhe, painted with pigments drawn from the veins of the willing. Choirs moan from balconies, some with voices, some with flayed throats, fitted with vox. Organs, the floor vibrates with the pounding of drums made from stretched skin. At the temple's center rises the Redaceus. Not altar, but stage. Upon it, the sacrifices are offered, not in shame, not in silence, but in glory. They scream as blades caress their flesh. They laugh as hooks lift them skyward. They sing as their blood paints the congregation below. And we, the priests, we guide the rhythm. We time each cut, each note, each gasp, so that together they form symphonies of sensation. When the climax comes, when the sacrifice's body bursts into red rain, and the crowd opens their mouths to drink, we raise our hands, and the roar is not merely human. It is divine. My sermons are not scriptures of words alone. They are written in nerve and sinew. One evening, I called forth a supplicant, a young guardsman captured in war. His eyes blazed with defiance. He spat at me, calling me heretic. I smiled, kissed the spit from my cheek, and whispered, Then let us worship together. We bound him upon the dais. I did not strike him at once. I stroked his skin, traced his scars, pressed the knife gently, teasing. Each shiver, each curse, was part of the prayer. When at last I drew the blade in earnest, carving patterns into his flesh, he screamed not with rage but with awe. His body arched, his lips trembled, his defiance dissolved into moans. By the time I severed his tongue to silence his blasphemies, he wept with joy. His eyes begged for more. When he died, it was not in hatred, but in ecstasy. Do you see? Even the unwilling are saved. Even the defiant can be converted. The Emperor gives you hymns of discipline sung in monotone until the soul dies. Slaanesh gives us choirs that never end. The choir eternal is not made of voices alone. It is made of throats and lungs, pipes and organs, crafted from those who offered themselves willingly, or who were chosen when their wills proved too stubborn. Their chests are opened, their ribs stretched into harps, their vocal cords strung with brass, their lungs filled with incense until each breath is a note. They do not die. That is the gift. They linger, suspended, moaning forever. Each sound is layered, woven, exalted into symphonies that echo across the temple. Once, a pilgrim begged me to hear the choir alone, without the crowd's chant. I led him to the chamber at midnight. When the voices rose, his knees buckled. He clawed at his chest as though his heart would burst. He screamed, but his scream blended into their harmony, and he fell silent only when he tore his own throat to join them. I smiled. Another convert. Another hymn. We do not eat as mortals eat. Our feasts are sacraments. The tables are laden with meats carved from sacrifices, still twitching, still warm, fruits soaked in blood, breads baked from bone dust, wines brewed from marrow. We eat not for sustenance, but for sensation. Each bite must shock the tongue. Each flavor must clash until the mouth is aflame. But it is not only food. Each feast is accompanied by caresses, by whips, by hooks, by laughter. Every sense must be overwhelmed: taste, touch, sight, sound, smell. To eat in silence is blasphemy. To drink without moan is heresy. And when the feast reaches frenzy, when the table is overturned, and the bodies of the living are dragged atop it, the true sacrament begins. Flesh is carved, consumed raw, screams swallowed with wine, and in that chaos, we see her smile. Many resist at first. They come to us broken, captured, afraid. They beg for death, cling to their emperor. But death is too simple. Death is release, and we are not generous. So we give them life. Life unbound. We force sensation upon them, pain, until it becomes pleasure, pleasure until it becomes agony, both until they blur into the same hymn. At first they resist, but resistance shatters when the body betrays them. When they moan despite themselves, when they tremble, when they beg for the blade they once cursed. That is, I remember a priest of the ecclesiarchy dragged before us in chains. He cursed us, spat prayers, called us abominations. We lashed him, tore his flesh, and he only screamed scripture louder. But when I pressed my lips to his wound and drank, he shuddered. When I whispered into his ear, promising more, he wept. Days later, he knelt before me, his prayers forgotten, his tongue begging not for salvation but for sensation. That is the truth. All chains can be broken. All denial can be undone. What awaits us? The Imperium says only damnation. They are right, though they misunderstand. Damnation is not horror. Damnation is freedom. When we die, our souls are not silent. They are drawn into her embrace. We become notes in her eternal choir, sensations in her endless body, whispers in her infinite pleasure. Some return as daemons, radiant and terrible, to teach new liturgies. Others dissolve forever into the rapture of excess. I have seen it once, during a great festival of blood and silk. A priestess carved open her own chest, her heart still beating. She lifted it high, screaming her name. And in that instant she dissolved into light, a column of violet fire that shrieked with 1,000 voices. When the fire faded, only ashes remained, and every soul present wept, not from sorrow but from longing. I long still. I yearn for that end. My sermons are only practice for that final hymn, and so my sermon draws to its close. You have listened, perhaps in horror, perhaps in secret yearning. It does not matter which, for yearning hides within horror as sweetness hides within fruit. I ask you now, what do you feel? The itch in your skin, the throb in your veins, the hunger you cannot name. These are not sickness. They are worship. Do not deny them. Denial is the emperor's lie. Indulgence. Come to the temple. Step upon the stage. Offer your flesh, your voice, your blood, your hunger. We will cut you, caress you, exalt you. You will scream, and in your scream you will pray more sincerely than you ever did in silence. And when the last of your blood is spilled, when your body collapses, when your eyes roll back, and your lips part in that final trembling moan, you will know that you have touched divinity, for she is waiting, always waiting. And she loves you as only she can.